Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Now, one of the things that I've noticed over the last 12 months is how the entire world has turned its attention to creating cleaner, safer indoor spaces, all amidst the coronavirus pandemic. We're seeing the world differently. Even just going into my local train station, I'm seeing a little bit of nervousness around the touchscreens to buy the tickets, whereas before everyone just did that seamlessly. People now question the air that they breathe, the screens, the handrails that they touch. So what role will technology do in creating healthier buildings? And do it in a way that is not intrusive and just works. So when I heard that Honeywell were developing emerging technologies that ultimately create healthier environments for commercial buildings by developing new technologies, I had to find out more. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Atlanta so we can speak with Manish Sharma, who is going to join me in a conversation about the role of technology in creating healthier buildings. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Neil, for having me here. My name is Manish Sharma, and I am CTO, which is Chief Technology Officer, and CPO, which is Chief Product Officer of Honeywell Building Technology, and which is we call HBT. HBT is one of the big business part of overall Honeywell, which has overall 4 businesses. My key responsibility in this role is to develop and deliver the product launch to the market. And of course, it has to create the big differentiation to our customers and big differentiation to the market.
And I suspect that many people listening will have their own idea of what you do at Honeywell. For example, when I told my wife I was chatting with Honeywell today, she said, "Oh, did you know our central heating is Honeywell based?" Which I didn't know, but I think that's what most people would associate you with. And I suspect they don't know just how far-reaching your technology truly is. So can I ask that you tell the listeners a little bit more about the role of technology at Honeywell? And because I think there's so much that you guys are doing right now, isn't there?
I think if I just summarize in a broader way the Honeywell and the technology role, we are definitely creating a big difference in creating the differentiated offering for healthy buildings. Because as you see in the last year, pandemic hit all of us around the globe. We started kind of thinking and took a back seat. Hey, what we can do to really solve the problem what we are seeing in the world. So healthy building, which is predominantly provides the best environment, best air quality inside the building for people to be much comfortable and safer. Second one, within the healthy building, you have you want to make sure that you do not start having the huge energy consumption as you talk about the heating and cooling you do. So Honeywell hits majority of the heating and cooling and ventilation kind of equipment inside the building. We want to make sure that we are creating a technology, creating a future system which is energy efficient as well. And finally, you want to make sure you create a best occupant experience when people walk in, and people have the best environment, frictionless experience. When you walk in, door opens with the facial recognition. You have been guided to your place, and you know exactly what kind of environment you're sitting, and you feel much more confident and much more assured that you are walking in a building which is safer for you to work and interact. So that's on the healthy building. I just want to cover a couple of more things. Second is sustainability. As you see, the sustainability is much larger than what we do in energy saving and energy efficiency. It's all about how you drive the carbon neutrality in the building. So helping the environment, helping the environment, and helping the society. And also the net zero. Net zero means the buildings who are going to consume the energy you are going to generate yourself. with the non-conventional source of energy like solar, wind, and other battery storage technology. So that's another big drive we have, big offering and product we are working on, which will drive the sustainability in this. So our goal is to provide much safer, much secured, and best environment and highly productive environment to the world for our workers, people and occupant, and all the people who are visiting to the buildings.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's one of the big reasons I invited you on the podcast today, was after reading about how your goal at Honeywell is to develop emerging technologies that will ultimately create healthier environments for those commercial buildings. And I do know we have a lot of business leaders and decision makers listening to this podcast, and a lot of tech teams as well. So can you expand on that goal and how you're going to develop those emerging technologies to bring it to life?
I think if you look at our healthier environment or the healthy building, what we are doing is the first and foremost, let me answer on the first, the pandemic situation, which we are going through, or which we have gone through in the past and much severe. All these, the COVID and the viruses infection, as you start digging deeper and start doing research, you will find that majority of the infection happens through the air. It's the air quality which matters a lot inside the building. If you look at top 10 reasons, the air quality will come definitely in the top 3, how these infection can be happening in the building or in the space which you are working and sitting. So Honeywell, definitely one of the core objective in healthy building is to provide the best indoor air quality. And beyond that, we also would like to make sure that we have the more of a thermal screening. When you walk inside the building, you have a technology which can screen the people and check the temperature automatically and take the corrective actions required to be done if you find some high temperature, and walk you through the workflow which is needed to be done based on the CDC guideline which has been deployed in the building, or based on any local government guideline which is to be deployed there. The other thing is all about the how you are making sure that the mask, what you're wearing, and being detected automatically, and the social distancing has been measured and communicated to the environment that, okay, you have to follow social distancing. These zones, these areas, you're not following it. So these are the few key technologies which we are building and are already built and launched in the few customers, where you can create a healthy environment, healthy buildings, and have the people to be much more assured when you walk inside than when you work inside.
And something else I was reading about before you came on the podcast today was that Honeywell has recently struck up a new partnership with Syracuse University to establish an indoor air quality lab, which I think is incredibly cool, especially when we're looking at air quality and thinking about it much more because of the pandemic, etc. So can you tell me a little bit more about that partnership?
I think if you look at in this current environment, as I mentioned, indoor air quality is the key one. So when I started looking around all the different universities across the US and see, hey, how can we be assured that we go a little bit deeper into indoor air quality and come out with much more better research outcome and much more better products we want to launch. So we reached out to Syracuse. We found that they have a fantastic air quality lab, and they have been working on the next generation technology of building the indoor air quality sensors. They have been working on doing some analytics, how those sensors input can be utilized to maintain the best condition in the environment, and also to go beyond analytics and see that what outcome which can be delivered to the different personas of the building, like facility manager or some of the health and safety officer of the building. So by looking at all those, we were really intrigued, and we were exactly in the similar path. So we started working with them and created a Honeywell lab inside the Syracuse. And we have few researchers researchers from Syracuse who are PhD students working with our Honeywell experts to develop the best solution for indoor air quality, which would definitely be helping for our buildings and different other environments where we deploy the solution.
So how do you think that research will benefit air quality and potentially the speed up that return to normalcy? Because I think that is a big conversation all over the world right now, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think if you read through some of the paper published by ASHRAE and recommendation coming out of CDC or or different places, one of the critical factor in indoor air quality is the ventilation and airflow. If you see in the typical building, you recirculate the same air to make sure that what you have conditioned the air, whether you are heating or cooling, you don't lose that. You continue to utilize that. But at the same time, it is important for her to understand that can we use ventilation as one of the systems in the building for us to be getting the fresh air intake and ventilate some of the inside air out and have much more fresh air intake for a better environment. So it's a pretty deeper subject. If somebody understands that, it requires a good amount of research, because as you start getting the outside air in, you have to make sure you take care of many parts of the equation. The first is your outside air is definitely having a different environment, different conditions. You don't want to load your system too much. It's like if you are in a Minneapolis, you are at a negative temperature, very low or negative, you have to preheat the system. Or if you are in somewhere in Phoenix where the summer hot condition, you bring it, you have to pre-cool the system. So you kind of create the extra load. So that's the first part which you need to consider. Second, you need to make sure that what outside air you're bringing that has a better indoor quality. Few part of the world, you may find that outside air quality is not as good as inside. Sometimes you find inside is the better air quality. So how do you make sure that what you're getting in is the right indoor air quality? And then finally, the air circulation inside the building. As you are having the air circulation, you want to make sure that you're having the right filtration technologies at the point of where the air is being circulated, where your air handling unit, where the air starts circulating to different part of the building. So what different filtration technology you use, which does not have a higher pressure drop, which is in turn directly a relationship with the energy consumption. So having these so many different variables inside the building, you really need to make sure you run a good analytics on top of the control system what you deploy in the building, and ensure that you are considering of so many complicated variables before you start deploying some of these corrective measure to have the better indoor air quality in the building. So that's exactly what we are working together to looking at all those variables I talk about. And on top of these variables, plus one is very important part is the people inside the building. If you read through the ASHRAE or other white paper which has been developed, the people are the places where more people, you have a much more the VOCs or some of the CO2 generation and the multiple gases which gets generated from the people. You got to make sure that you consider that as well as you start doing the analytics, as you start doing the overall healthy building or the good indoor environment calculation. So that's exactly our work with Syracuse. It's a pretty deep topic, pretty deep research area which is going on right now. We believe we could have a very, very differentiated outcome working along with Syracuse to provide dynamic ventilation kind of an outcome, which is not only creating the best environment, which is also helping you to save the energy and at the same time giving you the best occupant experience, a best healthy environment to our occupants.
And when I was researching you, one of the things that I quickly learned was that Honeywell's healthy building solutions are helping to integrate air quality, safety, and security technologies, along with advanced analytics, to help building owners minimise potential risks of contamination, whilst also improving things like business continuity by monitoring both the building environment and building occupants' behaviours. That's what I took away from everything that I was reading there. But do you have any use cases that you could share that would just bring all that to life and help listeners understand how it might work in their world or in their building?
Yeah, absolutely. I think let's talk about the couple of places. One is we are, as you know, schools are the very, very important part when the education is the critical for students to be in the classroom, teachers to be in a classroom to teaching them. We are working very closely with all the schools and all the district in US and around the globe to deploy our solution in the school building. And predominantly we want to do is we want to make sure we provide them the healthy environment in the classroom, where you can have HEPA filter, kind of a filtration technology, or you can have one of the technology which we are deployed is electronic air cleaner, EAC plus UV. Combination of these two gives you a best filtration in the building and have the best disinfection and sanitization to be done in the building. So these are the couple of technology which we have deployed and deploying in the school industry to make sure we continue their business operation, continue with their the schools and the teaching, which is the very, very noble thing to do in the world, because that's our future, what we are building in the world. Another one which I want to just talk about is the airport. So we have worked with a couple of airports. One is with the San Diego airport, where we have really provided them the best technology for creating the mass detection, which is the automatic mass detection, thermal screening, and see the temperature checking of the passengers who are traveling. And also to social distancing, to ensure that wherever you have the clusters, where how you can make sure you are creating enough alerts and awareness and alarms for people to follow the social distancing in that environment. So this is again kind of to provide the safety for the passengers and also the business continuity and operation continuity for the airports to be operational. Similarly, we have done one more for the Pittsburgh airport, where we are deploying the dashboard and analytics, which is helping the passengers to know at what environment I am coming in, what kind of systems are deployed, what kind of a healthy environment I am walking in. At the same time, facility manager are knowing that air quality and knowing all the parameters of the air quality and taking the proactive action based on the healthy building dashboard and the healthy building score, what you get, so that you are not waiting for something to go wrong very drastically, but you are much more proactive through the data, through the dashboard, for to immediately act upon, so that you can have the best environment for your passengers, best environment for the airport staff to be operated inside the airport.
And it really just feels like there's a real wind of change in the air at the moment. And we're all talking about sustainability and how we can use technology to create those healthy buildings and improve air quality. And it's like all our needs have completely transformed over the last 12 months. But I'm curious, what is it that excites you about the future and where we're heading and how this tech is going to be used?
Yeah, I think if you ask me what really excites me for the future is, I think this is something which Honeywell has been doing it from a long time. We really want to make sure that we create much safer world. We create a much more secure safety in the world. We provide much more security in the world, and also much better environment in the world, and finally much higher productivity for workers and people to work. So this is what excites me a lot, what you are creating a difference in the world and helping the society, helping the world for them to be much safer, much secure, much productive, and much more healthier in the environment. So That's our Honeywell vision. That's our Honeywell goal. And anything in the technology point of view which we develop or we work, has to lead into a direction, is what I talk about, the much safer, secure, productive and best environment condition in the world to be delivered. So that motivates me probably every day, every minute, every moment for me to work in Honeywell and create the best, the safer world and secure world.
Excellent. And one of the questions I always like to ask my guests is if there is a particular song that has inspired you in the past, helped you in your career, helped you get your head in the zone before going on stage, or just reminds you of technology and the industry and your career. Is there a particular song, and what would that be and why?
It aligns with my previous answer, what I gave actually. Actually, I like Bryan Adams. I've been listening from long time. Maybe I think since, you may hear that, pretty old singer. But yeah, I love his song from a childhood. And one of the songs which always excites me is Everything I Do It For You. And maybe it is there in my DNA from the beginning that it's not about me. A lot of things people want to do for me and me, but there is something about you. There is something about other than me whom I should be thinking about. And when you do something for others, help them and really make them look better, make them look happy, make them feel better. So you get a very, very different satisfaction. You get a very, very different, joy. And that's probably creates a lot of passion, energy, and positive thinking in my mind whenever I think about the song, and probably kind of aligned with the Honeywell vision also. As I mentioned, so we always provide to the world a much safer, secure, and better environment, productive environment. It's of course you want to make sure that Honeywell as a company grows, but it's at the end of the day, purpose is what you are creating a better world. And purpose is for the rest of the people and the environment and everything. So it is kind of coincides with that, and I always feel very, very energized when I listen that song, and I do that. I mean, my wife also knows that pretty well. She gifted me. She sang the song for me. She gifted me many different musics and everything of CDs and the videos of that song. So yeah, really, really thanks for asking that question. My goosebumps are already up, as you can feel that.
And that's a beautiful moment to end on. But before I do let you go, can I ask that you remind everyone listening of where they can find Honeywell online, all the kind of things that we're talking about here? So I would imagine it's going to be a particular part of the Honeywell website, and also contact your team if they've got any questions. Yeah, absolutely. I think you can go to buildings.honeywell.com. You will find all the information related to what the products and offering and solution we provide for buildings, and specifically there are healthy buildings solutions, and our point of views are listed there. So please do visit there. You will find all the relevant information. Like I said a few moments ago, I think over the last 12 months, all of our needs, both in and outside of the office, have completely evolved, and we want very different things now. And the world is turning its attention to creating cleaner and safer indoor spaces, especially amidst the coronavirus pandemic. But it's the role that technology that plays in that really interests me. So a big thank you for taking the time to come on and share that with me today. Thank you very much, Neil, for a wonderful conversation. Yeah, I really enjoyed the discussion, and you kind of touched upon a lot of stuff which we do, but at the same time, you touched upon some of the emotional thing which I like. So thank you very much for the time, and it was a pleasure talking to you. Wow, I think there were just so many big takeaways in that conversation from me, from how the research will benefit air quality and potentially speed the return to normalcy, and also Honeywell's healthy building solutions, and how they integrate air quality, safety and security technologies along with advanced analytics to help building owners minimise risks of contamination. So it's not just one singular technology or solution here, it's how the entire building solutions fit together and complement each other But over to you. What did you think about anything that we talked about today? Did it make you think of anything in particular? Have you got any expertise, insights? Have you got any questions? Whatever it might be, please, I invite you all to email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com. Remember, my website is techblogwriter.co.uk. Keep those messages coming in. You guys and dolls are the reason that I record this podcast every day. 1, to serve you, and 2, that we can all share ideas and expertise and insights and learn a thing or two from each other, no matter where you're all listening. So keep those messages coming in. A big thank you to each and every one of you listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.